Hey guys, we are so excited to announce we are producing our own original content. Head over to The Trendy for the best DIYs, fashion tips, makeup hacks, and so much more. We are sure you're going to love it, and be sure to let us know what you think in the comment section. We love to hear from you. See you there.
Cartoon lovers always come up with fan fictions that combine two very different cartoon worlds together. But there are several cartoons out there that actually made that happen, and it's totally awesome. Stick around to see SpongeBob cameos in one of the most popular modern Nickelodeon cartoons. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a big thumbs up if you're a fan of any of these cartoons. Now, let's check 10 best cartoon crossovers and cameos. Teen Titans Go and Powerpuff Girls. In 2016, Teen Titans Go aired a very special episode that brought back childhood memories for everyone who used to enjoy watching movies on Cartoon Network. If you've missed it, you absolutely have to see episode 40 of season 3 called TTG vs PPG, Teen Titans Go versus the Powerpuff Girls. If you think about it, the Powerpuff Girls were almost like Teen Titans Go in a way. Both shows had adorable characters with superpowers. Both shows were hilarious, and both had interesting cameos with characters from other cartoons. In TTG vs PPG, Mojo Jojo plans to take over the world in Jump City. He's followed by the Powerpuff Girls, who then compete against the Teen Titans Go for the best superhero team. Who won? You'll have to watch the episode to find out. One of our favorite moments was when Blossom and Robin had to find out where Mojo was hiding. Robin found a note and went through a great extent to search for any possible clues on Mojo's location, while Blossom just read the text and realized he was at the zoo. We also found it hilarious that Beast Boy and Cyborg thought Mojo Jojo was actually pretty cool for a talking monkey. If you think about it, his outfit makes him fit in the Teen Titans Go world just perfectly. The girls definitely brought a lot of attitude to the show. The Jetsons and The Flintstones. If you were born after the year 2000, you've probably completely missed the Cartoon Network era of The Jetsons, as well as watching The Flintstones on Saturday mornings. Here's a super quick lowdown on both cartoons. The Flintstones and The Jetsons were produced by the same animation studio, Hanna-Barbera. One first aired in 1960, and the other in 1962. One was a show about living in the Stone Age, and the other was a futuristic cartoon with flying space cars and robots. The shows were so popular, Hanna-Barbera producers decided to do a crossover movie in 1987. It's hard to believe that this would even work, but it did. The characters who had to run to use their car met the family that was practically flying more than they were walking. It's a time travel experiment that has gone wrong for the Jetsons family, but it actually went right in so many other ways. The futuristic family ends up in the past instead of the 25th century and ends up meeting the Flintstones. But when Rosie, the robot maid, builds a time machine retriever, it manages to bring back the wrong family. Basically, it's a huge time machine mess, but an excellent movie that's worthy of your time. Everyone makes an appearance, including Astro and Dino, the two pets we'd never think would be seen together. We're telling you, it's a must-watch movie. Scooby-Doo and Johnny Bravo. Cartoon crossovers used to be a lot more frequent than they are today. No one's quite sure why, but we're very grateful we were able to see different universes unite. One of the weirdest combinations that actually worked really well was Scooby-Doo and Johnny Bravo. The two cartoons are completely different from each other, but in 1997, Scooby-Doo aired a very special episode. It's called Bravo Dooby-Doo, and it's the third episode of season 1. The plot is pretty simple. Johnny Bravo ends up getting help from the Scooby-Doo help because he needs to find his missing aunt. They meet when his car breaks down in a similar setting we usually see in Scooby-Doo. One of the best moments in the series is when Johnny stays true to his ladies' man character and continuously tries to flirt with Daphne. At the same time, Velma desperately tries to win Johnny Bravo's attention. The episode includes some innuendos, such as Johnny offering a Scooby snack to Daphne after he asks her if she wants to get lost with him. We're glad Daphne wasn't impressed, as we all know that the only true relationship goals of the series are Freddie and Daphne. And we wouldn't have it any other way. We have to admit that Johnny Bravo did bring a lot of comedy into Scooby-Doo, along with his infamous terrible pickup lines. Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys. If you're a fan of the Rugrats and you haven't seen this crossover, you absolutely have to. It's one of the most adorable movies we have ever seen. We love the Rugrats. But do you remember the Wild Thornberrys? The cartoon follows the lives of a nomad family that films documentaries. The show features a character with one of the best powers we're extremely jealous of. Eliza can communicate with animals. Meanwhile, the Rugrats is about a group of toddlers and their silly adventures. You'd never think these two cartoons would ever mix, but they did. In 2003, Nickelodeon Movies produced Rugrats Go Wild, a movie that features the popular cartoon toddlers going on an adventure through the safari and ended up stranded on an island because their cruise ship flipped over. With Rugrats as the leading characters, the movie is totally adorable and worth seeing if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet. How could you not want to watch 80 minutes of Rugrats teaming up with the Thornberrys after meeting them on an uninhabited island? And just to give you a quick spoiler, this whole thing is Stu's fault. Don't question the storyline. Remember, it's all part of a toddler's imagination. However, the movie is definitely adorable and we can never get enough of Rugrats' cute baby talk. American Dad, King of the Hill, and Family Guy. Usually crossovers only involve one other alternative universe because, well, it's easier for animators to figure out how to merge the two worlds. But this amazing crossover is possibly one of the best ones yet. American Dad, King of the Hill, and Family Guy all have a few things in common. Along with being comedy shows, they're also extremely satiric when it comes to portraying American life. So imagine seeing all those characters in a single episode. The episode is called Big Fat, and it's the 17th episode of the 11th season of Family Guy. The episode opens with an intro which involves King of the Hill characters, and it's entirely done in the show's style. The actual episode has to do with the Griffins visiting the Smiths from American Dad, who are also their new neighbors. In the true Family Dad style, things get pretty complicated as you can imagine. We won't spoil anything for you, but we can say that it's one of the best cartoon episodes we have ever seen. Fans that love all of these shows were completely mind-blown by this crossover, and it left them and us wanting more. We still can't get over seeing all of them together. One of the best lines from the episode happens when Peter Griffin laughs at Stan Smith that he's a classic American dad. He sure is. Adventure Time and Futurama. By now, you've probably figured out that a lot of crossovers share the same plot. Most of the time, something happens that transports the characters into a different cartoon world. Well, this crossover is a little bit different. When it was first announced that Jake and Finn were making an appearance in Futurama, the fans of both Emmy Award-winning shows went totally insane. You can find the mini crossover in a Futurama episode called Leela and the Jeanstock. The actual reasons behind Jake and Finn's appearance on the show are still unclear, but we have to admit that this is one of our absolute favorite crossovers. The entire scene lasts for just under 9 seconds, but it's totally rewarding. We see Bender meeting Jack and Finn in the tower, where they are hanging on the wall, presumably trapped. Jake asks Bender what's the time, and Bender replies that it's time for him to shut up. Here's another fun crossover. Bender is actually voiced by the same actor as Jake, so technically he's telling himself to shut up. Talk about a mind-blowing crossover. You'd never think that these two shows could actually come together, but then again, anything is possible in Futurama. Which cartoon world would you want to pair up with Futurama? Let us know in the comments. The Loud House and Fairly OddParents. The Loud House is one of the most popular cartoon shows of 2016 and 2017. If you've been our subscriber for a long time, you know how much we love this crazy show. Having a family with 11 children definitely isn't easy, but imagine when one of your kids opens up a portal to the world of the Fairly OddParents. It's a recipe for an amazing episode, and it's called The Fairly OddParents Meet The Loud House. What makes this episode even more special is that only the original characters from Fairly OddParents appear in the actual storyline. The plot is actually pretty fun. Lisa Loud, who's only 4 years old, but she's still the smartest in the family, works on an experiment that opens up a portal to Dimsdale, the main city of the Fairly OddParents. The same portal is also found by Timmy, and curiosity makes the iconic characters meet. We won't spoil the episode for you any longer, you'll just have to see it. But we can promise that it's one of the most hilarious Loud House episodes ever. Make sure you keep on watching our video because there's one more crossover from the Loud House fans would absolutely love to see. Trust us, once you see what it is, you'll want it to happen too. But first, let's check out a few other awesome crossovers. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and the Powerpuff Girls. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy was arguably one of the best and possibly the weirdest shows on Cartoon Network. The show follows the lives of the two siblings, Billy and Mandy, and the Grim Reaper, who's pretty much forced to hang out with the kids. The show did a crossover with the Powerpuff Girls, and it's one of the oddest concepts ever. The episode is called My Fair Mandy, and it's the 15th episode of Season 5. The double-length episode first starts off with a Little Miss Scurvy beauty pageant. When Mandy finally sings on the day of the talent show, the crowd loves it, which causes the usually grumpy Mandy to smile. As a result, this makes the world implode, and the characters are transported into the city of Townsville, also known as the home of the Powerpuff Girls. Basically, Billy, Mandy, and the Grim Reaper transform into the Powerpuff Girls, and it's the weirdest thing ever. Grim becomes Blossom, Mandy becomes Bubbles, and Billy is Buttercup. And it seems like no one is really enjoying this new dimension. One of our favorite moments from the episode is seeing them fly into the city, and Grim saying they will never talk about this again. The scene was short, but it did make us laugh. Once again, the day was saved thanks to Billy, Mandy, and Grim. The Simpsons and Family Guy. Seeing the crossover between American Dad, King of the Hill, and Family Guy was already fascinating, but Family Guy also paired up with The Simpsons. The episode was called The Simpsons Guy, and it's the first episode of Season 13. If you're a fan of both shows, this episode was extremely mind-blowing to see. The story talks about the Griffin family fleeing for safety after one of his comic books becomes viral on the internet, and not in a good way. They end up being stranded in Springfield, and they stop by the donut store where they meet Homer, who, in true Homer style, teaches them how to really eat donuts. We then get to see both families hang out, and one of our favorites is seeing Bart together with Stewie. One of our favorite moments is when Bart introduces Stewie to his weapons closet, and it turns out to be a collection of slingshots and other kid toys. And let's not forget about them prank calling Moe's Tavern. Lisa and Meg also make an interesting pair, and we love that Lisa encourages Meg that she matters after all, even though she thinks she's not good at anything. Well, she does end up being good at something, but you'll have to watch the episode to see what it is. Let's just say Lisa wasn't happy about it. The Loud House and SpongeBob. The Loud House was inspired by a lot of popular characters, and it looks like the creators have a crossover relationship with SpongeBob SquarePants. There were so many SpongeBob references on the show, we could make a whole video about it. They're so well hidden, we bet you've missed most of them. But here are just a few that caught our eye. In Season 1, Episode 1, you can catch the Loud sisters fighting over a remote. But what was actually playing on the TV was SpongeBob SquarePants. Well, at least we can assume it was, considering it featured a much simplified version with a yellow square and a star-shaped character. Lisa Loud's kindergarten class also shows a picture of what it looks like to be SpongeBob characters. Since the Loud House already teamed up with the world of the Fairly OddParents, fans are asking Nickelodeon for a crossover with SpongeBob SquarePants. Can you imagine how wacky that episode might be? We can't wait to see it. Characters like Lisa and Lucy might not have a lot of tolerance for the happy-go-lucky SpongeBob, but we bet he'd fit right in with the Loud family. Come on, Nickelodeon, let's make it happen. What do you think would happen in a crossover between the Loud House and SpongeBob SquarePants? Let us know in the comments, and we'll pin the craziest suggestion. That's it for talking about the best cartoon crossovers and cameos. Want more? Check out 5 ridiculous examples of cartoon logic that will make you facepalm. And get ready to facepalm a lot. See you around.